Hello, welcome to Brussels, and welcome to our special session. So today we will be talking about one of the most important issues that humanity faces today and one of the most important problems related to the coronavirus crisis. The topic of our session is how not to write a bestseller under quarantine. I know that there is currently a lot of fear among my viewers, a lot of uncertainty regarding, you might be asking yourself, will I achieve not to write the bestseller? Will I manage? I will not lie to you, it is not easy. But by the end of the session, you will acquire a special set of new tools and new skills that will help you not to write a bestseller. But you may be asking yourself, who am I, right, to be teaching you about something so important and of such an utmost importance for the whole of our planet? Let me introduce myself. My name is Aleksandra Lun. I am a writer and I am also a specialist in not writing bestsellers because I have never written one. I must say that not writing bestsellers has been my biggest achievement in life. It has also been my dream since I was a little girl. Not writing bestseller has been a calling that I felt from a very, very early age. And nowadays, I turned 40 last year, and I can say, proudly that if I need to go tomorrow, if I find myself tomorrow on a deathbed, I will have achieved my biggest dream. People can achieve material things, maybe a house, maybe a car, maybe a wonderful bicycle. But for me, the most important will be that, I didn't live my life in vain because I managed not to write a bestseller. And if I managed, you also can manage. And this is what this session is about. I will also tell you that in my case, it has been, I had this additional difficulty because I come from Poland. I was born in the communist era. And of course, it makes it even more difficult, right? If you look at the writers that, wrote about their totalitarian experience and, how inspiring it is to live under any dictatorship, how wonderful for your creativity and inspiration. So I had to work double to get to the same place maybe than other writers, but that's why maybe I also feel the calling of teaching, passing my knowledge on to you and help in these times of, chain of solidarity because of the virus. Well, let's say from the very beginning that not writing a bestseller, it's not something that comes easily. I will not lie to you. It is something that comes with a personal sacrifice. You need to spend hours and hours and weeks, months and years of your life doing things that are not writing a bestseller, which is not easy because, you need to go out with your friends, you need to travel, you go on holiday, you read other bestsellers, you spend time outdoors. You do all the things that you can in order not to write the bestseller. And of course, to achieve it during, a lifetime, it's very difficult, but that's why you need to persevere. But here we are coming to, the special circumstances right now, because, countries are starting to ease up the lockdown measures, but we did spend several weeks, several months in self-isolation, many of us, in social distancing and under quarantine in general. And it's of course not an easy time. Here I would like to direct myself to those of you that actually have already written a bestseller during this time. Please don't desperate. Please believe me, you can still change your life. We all need to start where we are. I encourage you to continue because this session is also for you. You can still change. in any case, as I said, in these times of quarantine, in this time of lockdowns, of different restrictions in movement, it is especially difficult not to write a bestseller. Why? Well, of course, suddenly plenty of people, let's say the whole or big part of the world population has adopted a writer's lifestyle. Suddenly everybody is alone at home, suddenly nobody is exercising, which means that people are physically weak, like any writer. Suddenly people are lonely, are sad, have no personal life, have absolutely no perspectives for the future. And this provokes, a myriad of feelings, of emotions, a fear, anxiety, sadness, loneliness. And of course, these are exactly the feelings that are the fertile ground to write, and more specifically, to write a bestseller. So it's a time when you need to be extra careful. There is also an external factor which makes it even more difficult not to write a bestseller under quarantine. And it's a truth that I will have to say here, but it can be difficult for some of you, for the most sensitive of you. So if you feel that you are a sensitive person, please maybe cover your ears now, or if you live with somebody, hold their hand, or go, if you have a pet, if you have a snake, hold him too. Whatever can help you, to ease the stress related with what I'm going to say next. And what I'm going to say next is that, as you know, as you might suspect, when all of this is over, when we are out of the coronavirus crisis, somebody will have written a bestseller. Somebody will do it. And of course, it may come as a shock. I understand. Because of course it means it will be one of us, right? It could be you, right? So there is this fear, that appears suddenly, like you start to ask yourself, is it gonna be me? Will I be the victim of the next bestseller? It's a hard thing to navigate through. So that's why I really think that this session can be helpful. And you also need to think positively, in times of adversity, it's when we grow. It's when our human value is shown to the world. So I would like to encourage you not to precisely get discouraged by these difficult circumstances, but on the contrary, to try to navigate through them the best you can, and of course with my specialist, with my expertise and my help. So now that you know who I am and what I'm doing, of course I'm doing this because it's a mission of my life. I want to encourage the maximum of people possible not to write bestsellers. So now that we have done this brief introduction, I will present you my very easy method. It's a four-step method not to write bestsellers under quarantine. It's very easy. It's only 4 easy steps to follow. I assure you that it will help you enormously. So the first step of this method, which is called quit, and the 4 letters of the word quit in English, quitting like leaving, are of course the abbreviation of the method. Or the name of the method is an acronym for the 4 steps. So let's go with the first step. The first step is Q, the letter Q for quiet, which means obviously stay quiet. And here, well, we could think about the obvious reason, right? Like not writing a bestseller, of course, which is an obvious instruction. So if you are writing a bestseller right now, please stop immediately. That's the first part. But there are also some less obvious temptations and less obvious situations that are really dangerous if you don't want to write a bestseller. So, for example, lockdown diary. Lockdown diary is something very, very dangerous. I observe all those writers writing their lockdown diary. It is like playing with fire because you write every day, you observe, you think, you can very easily end up writing a bestseller. So be very careful about it. I would really encourage you to directly throw anything that you have written during the quarantine. Not even throwing it, I think, would be enough, but burning it is the only way. But it's not only about writing the lockdown diary, because there is another danger that is usually very neglected because it's not really obvious. And I refer here to the shopping list. Writing a shopping list can seem just one of the things we do during our day, but it can end very bad. It can have a very negative consequences for you. So what I advise as part of my patented method is for you to always try to write your shopping list at a surface where you know that you won't be able to continue. So for example, a brick, a house brick. It's a bit heavy to take it to the shop, or a piece of stone or a rock. It's also feasible. It depends if you live in the countryside or in a city. But in any case, you take it with you to the shop, and of course it's a bit heavier, right? It's not so handy as just a piece of paper, but it's a time of sacrifice. We all need to sacrifice something. It's a difficult time for everybody. And the other strategy would be to write in some part on your own body. For example, I usually do my shopping list on my legs, but you can use also other parts of the body or your partner's body, whatever you prefer. The second step of the method quit is U for unforgettable. And here we have a paradox, because I actually would like to talk about those of you who are hypochondriacs, because of course, someone had to say it, and I will be the person that says it loudly. I'm a hypochondriac too. We are, of course, the forgotten ones of this pandemic. We are the people that nobody cares about. We are actually in the highest risk group, because we are the people that can get sick and die even before we even get the virus, right? But we are ignored by mainstream medicine, by the media. We are totally ignored. We are invisible. So I would like to give you some extra advices in the situation. First of them is don't approach prescriptions. Prescriptions are really difficult, are really dangerous, because there is a pen involved usually, or a keyboard. It depends how your health system works in your country, but it's really better not to even look at them. But there is also another aspect, which is calling your GP, calling your doctor. It's really something that should be avoided, because if you talk to your doctor over the phone and you talk a lot, you must remember that oral literature is also very dangerous, because Homer wrote many years ago, right? And he's still a best-selling author today. So really be careful with both with prescriptions and with calling your doctor. The third step of the method quit is I for imitation. And here, it's all about imitating the big masters of lockdown. So if you are in Europe, for example, but not necessarily, but in Europe we have this treasure, this wonderful group of people coming from the Eastern European countries, people that lived through the communism times. So you can just, call your Eastern European friend, or ask somebody on the street if you hear our Eastern European accent, and just ask, how did you guys do it? Because, you spent over 40 years in lockdown during the communism, which was basically more or less the same situation, not traveling, not leaving home, no toilet paper. You spent 40 years in lockdown, and look at you. You haven't written so many bestsellers, have you? Of course, we haven't, and we are the masters of lockdown. That's why it is really important that you contact your Eastern European friends. As for Eastern European bestsellers, I would say here we could also talk about, predominant cultures, about peripheral languages, or even about colonialism. But it's something that we will talk about at some future session. In any case, we have arrived to the last step of the method quit. So it's T for taboo. And taboo, of course, is an important concept here, because all of us that are trying our very best not to write the bestseller, we know that we are we find ourselves confined by a taboo. This is not an easy situation to be living. You stand out, you need to hide from your family and friends, everybody expects you to write the bestseller, so you need to be really self-accepting and also confident, so that your self-esteem doesn't get affected. And here I would like to help you with an image, because as they say, one image is worth 1,000 words. So I would like to bring here somebody that I think that can help you. It's a person that used to write bestsellers, but who has been able to recover successfully. So Svetlana, please come here, please. Svetlana is a bit shy. She would prefer to stay anonymous, but of course, Svetlana. No, nobody will judge you, Svetlana. We are not here to judge. We are all in this together. Please, just excuse me for a second. I will just go get Svetlana. Svetlana. Yes, excuse us. So I would like to introduce you to Svetlana. So as you can see, not writing a bestseller is a path, we can say it's a pathless path that can lead also to external changes, because usually what we change internally, but in the case of Svetlana, she also changed externally. So Svetlana used to be a best-selling author from Antwerp, a 60 years old man, but this path of not writing bestseller has absolutely changed her. She has recovered, she has healed. There are some secondary effects, but of course she can live with them. And I will just demonstrate you now how Svetlana, as an ex-best-selling author, how does she react nowadays to a bestseller? And you will see that her reaction is interesting, right, for you also to see. So we have one of the best-selling books here, and now Svetlana, you see how she's, you see? Svetlana, look, you see how she's avoiding the bestseller? She doesn't like it, eh? This is the effect that we want. This is the effect that you will be able to achieve if you implement the quit method. I would like to thank Svetlana for her courage and sharing with everybody your experience. Thank you, and you don't know who you have just inspired. So thank you, Svetlana. So we have arrived at the end of our session on how not to write a bestseller under quarantine. I must say that I am really happy that you have followed these teachings. It is something that will stay for you for the rest of your life, so you are now prepared not only not to write bestsellers under any type of quarantine or lockdown, but also during your whole life. It's a capital that you will be carrying inside of you forever. I am very proud of you. I really believe in you. If you have ever feel tempted to write a bestseller, this recording will always be with you. I will always be with you. I will help. I am here to help. So congratulations, good luck, and thank you.